I want an Oompa Loompa now, Daddy.
Yeah, and I'm terrified. I don't know. I understand, like, he was trying to teach them all a lesson of not being greedy and all that shit, but...
You know who else taught lessons via weird, unusual ways? And that would be Jigsaw.
Right?
The Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana. Place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields.
All right, welcome in, Cellar Dwellers.
Hey!
Woo!
Hey.
The random voice in the room. Hey. It almost sounded like a dad being like, hey, stop doing that.
Gotta still in dad voice mode.
Hey.
Awesome. Well, as you can tell, we have a guest, so it is not just myself and Ivy.
Yeah.
We have a guest.
Go ahead.
You know, I totally did. The dad brain kicked in again. All right. Big Earl, happy to be on board again.
There you go.
We're glad to have you back.
Yes,
It's always
sir.
fun having you.
Sorry, brain short-circuited there.
You know, sometimes you have to collect your thoughts.
Yeah,
That's right.
You know,
And once you end up having a 1.5-year-old and a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, they get more and more scattered.
and
No kidding.
Now
Yeah.
that we've spoke on it long enough, you can't edit it out.
Bummer. Now
That's going in there.
Now it's in there. All right.
Sweet. Well, wanted to start off by just thanking everyone. We did get to
Oh my
50
God.
subscribers. Like
We're
we
at
wanted.
50 subscribers!
Yeah. Woo! So that's pretty awesome to see. Appreciate that. Appreciate the interaction that
Thank
you all have
you.
been giving us. So we really appreciate that. We're getting on our way to getting some
Oh my
traction.
gosh, we are. We've only been a thing since October, and here we are having people contact us and just
Yeah.
kind of reaching out to us about, potentially being on an episode later
Yeah.
or collaborating. I'm just like, it's
Yes.
almost like we're official now.
So,
The snowball's rolling down the hill, baby.
Keep that going. Keep that going because that is a goal. We want to be interactive. We want to
Yes.
have some of you on. We want to collaborate. We want to go do things. So I love the interaction. Thank you very,
Yeah.
very much.
We're coming up with something very fun
Yes.
for 50 subscribers. We don't know where yet, but you all voted, and you want us to explore an abandoned building.
I know. I thought the cake was going to be like, hey, that's going
Yeah.
to be easy. And it's
Right.
like, shit. We got to find a place. We got to film it. We got to jazz it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
So we are looking at a couple places in like the Elkhart County area, but we're not opposed to searching other places.
Yeah. Up in Michigan's got some creepy shit. I know that.
I know. Well, I don't really feel like going to Detroit just yet.
No. Well, if we are, we got to go to Screamer's costumes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's that.
Absolutely. So we'll start it off with new stuff.
Yes.
I'll go first because I don't have as much as you.
Go for it. Go for it. I got
So
quite
for
a bit.
me, some things I'm looking forward to. I guess we'll start off with number one, especially because I just bought the Leatherface game, board game. Bought 2 of them because I got to have one to play. And
Hell yeah! And
never
hopefully,
open.
Hopefully, we'll get to play it soon.
Yes, we can do it whenever you want. So I got that, and big shout out to Buy Me Toys in Mishawaka. I'm not far from there where I work, so I hop in there, and I've limited myself to one toy, one figure a week. So I picked up some NECA Leatherface and then Hatchet. So, but in that theme, House of 1,000 Corpses is releasing a board game that you now can officially, I don't know if it's buy, I don't know if it's pre-order, but it's live on Trick or Treat Studios.
Nice. They are so good.
Yes, and the artwork on the cover is outstanding. The only thing Otis, Bill Moses' character, the hand coming at you is a little weird looking. It almost looks half wood.
Oh, really?
Like wood grain, like
Interesting.
Wood grain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only thing. But Firefly and Spalding,
Nice.
look pretty cool.
So, House of 1,000 Corpses, the game. Does every
Board
outcome end up with you dying?
That's,
no kidding.
Is there a happy ending to that game? Is it
that's
possible?
the beauty of playing and finding out. So
All right.
yeah,
Color me intrigued.
I'm
Right?
curious. But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
And I commend you on your restraint. BuyMeToys.com. This is not a plug for them, but it takes serious restraint to walk out
my
of there only one
God.
toy a week. It is a playground in there.
Yes, it's
The restraint. I commend you, my friend.
yeah. I'm gonna keep shouting them out, and like sometime I'm gonna go in there and be like, hey, so I shout you out on the podcast a bunch. Here, let me leave some business
Yeah,
cards. Or
right,
like,
exactly. You should, dude.
I'm not asking anything for you. Like, like I'm just letting you know I shout you guys out all the time. Blah blah, blah whatever.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna slut myself out a little bit.
That's called networking now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. That's
professional.
networking.
That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
You're doing
Yeah.
a good thing.
Right.
Look at me, I'm a big boy.
Exactly. Please keep doing all that LinkedIn grown up shit.
So yeah, sorry getting a little off track. So Trick or Treat Studios, House of Thousand Corpses board game looks pretty sweet. Next thing is, some of you may groan, some of you may be like, nah, whatever. The newest installment of the Walking Dead series, the spin-offs. Probably the most anticipated one, though, is the Rick and the Michonne. The Ones Who Live is what the series is called. Debuted last week, I want to say.
Oh my God.
Because I have AMC Plus, and there's not the second episode. So the first episode dropped on AMC Plus.
Okay.
So that's fairly new. So pretty excited about that. I know Walking Dead has sucked, but for me, like, that series has done so much for makeup.
Oh my God,
Like,
no kidding.
yeah.
And they brought
Holy shit.
FX back. You
And
know?
absolutely.
Special effects makeup.
And, the story has gotten sour and kind of sucked and all that sort of stuff. But they've somewhat picked it up with these new spin-offs. They're pretty cool. So this is the third one. There was the Negan and what's her face? I don't remember. And then there's the why can't I? Daryl Dixon. Daryl Dixon has his, and then this is the third one. This is the Rick and the Michonne. So this one has been like the most anticipated. So that's going on, and then also I tagged you in it.
Yes.
Well, meant to.
I
ended up
finally
tagging
found
you.
it.
Yes.
It's all good.
So we did finally find it. There is a new Friday the 13th, supposedly supposed to drop 2024. I posted it to the Blood in the Cornfields Instagram and forgot to post it to yours, Ivy. And then I couldn't find it. It was lost, and then she finally found it before we went on air. So it does exist. We don't know much about it. I looked in Google, looked in TikTok, looked in Instagram, Facebook, could not find information about it anywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a leak because it looks interesting. And there's always those times where they piece together like clickbaity stuff and it
of
ends up
old
being
shit and,
from different movies and shit
and they
like
try
that.
to like morph one together.
Yeah,
This
so
is
I'm
not
like,
that.
I don't know if that's what that is, but it's
seems-
interesting.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and I know my Friday the 13th movie is pretty good. I'd spot it if it was clips of shit.
Yeah.
This is all new stuff.
I didn't
Unusual that
see
there
it.
is no buzz for this.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
Well, it's weird because they're also doing Camp Crystal Lake, the TV series through Stars, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when that's supposed to come out. I haven't looked. It may have crashed. I don't know.
Maybe that's what that was for.
Maybe. So that's another thing I was thinking of too. So take it with a grain of salt, but there might be a new Friday the 13th movie coming out.
If I can find
this
it
year.
again, I'll try to post it.
Yeah, we'll try to
Interesting.
post it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that I we're big Friday the 13th
Yeah,
fans
I was
here,
like,
so it's like, oh
Yes.
That shouldn't have snuck up on me, but
man, I remember back in when did I go to college? I want to say 2017, 2018.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a new Friday the 13th movie that was supposed to come out then, and it never happened.
Yeah.
Like it literally was wiped, but it was on the IMDb page for what's new, what's coming up.
Yeah.
What is not relevant at this time, but on this date, on Friday the 13th, it's supposed to come out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
where's
Yeah,
it
it
at?
Some of that shit,
It's
like
not.
funding gets pulled midway through,
Yeah.
and they're just like, "Yeah, no, scrap this."
Yeah. So that was very sad. I was so disheartened. I had it on my calendar and everything.
no.
I was like, oh, it's not happening? Well, shit.
just Coyote versus Acme it. Just
Right?
gone.
They axed it.
So yeah, that's pretty much all new in my neighborhood.
Well, speaking of movies that are coming out,
Oh yes, I know what you're gonna talk about.
boy. So, we all know about the Crow reboot that's coming out. Well, pictures have come out.
Pictures have dropped.
Yep.
I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, but Bill Skarsgård, dude, this is a mess.
I told
This is already
the
a
first
mess.
thing I said to Ivy was, why'd they have to put fucked up facial tattoos on him? Like, come on.
Like, look at that.
Like,
Oh no.
yeah.
What have they done to my? It says lullaby up above his eyebrow. What the
dude.
fuck is that shit?
And you do remember your response? Because it was spot on.
Yep. Okay. So this is what I thought he looked like, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with me. He looks like fucking Jared Leto Joker.
Yes.
Wow.
It really does.
I was just gonna say if you mix Pennywise with one of the vaping like bro kid millennials,
Yeah.
Right.
He's got
You'd
a
end up
vape
with
in his
something
back
like that.
pocket.
Right.
Like, he has to.
He
with that
vapes, bro.
hairstyle.
Yeah.
He
You know
vapes.
it. He's about that life, fam.
Oh, and he has, it says paradise on his knuckles.
Oh no.
Oh my.
I take back the cautious optimism I expressed when I heard this
Right?
was coming out after I see this one.
This is a disgrace to the Crow franchise, and I'm so sad. But at least he can act, but I don't know if that's going to save it.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Like I've said before, for me, I'm judging it on this, and I want to know the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I want to know what they're doing for the soundtrack, because that soundtrack lives in infamy with me. That very first one, I know I've talked about it. That is the shit. Like that is the standard to what I hold fucking soundtracks to, in my opinion.
Accurate.
Yes. Every single band on there, even bands I don't like. Like I was never a Pantera song, but if I ever fucking like a Pantera song, it's that one that's on that fucking CD. Same thing with Cure. I wasn't a huge Cure fan, never was. Like, I'll fuck with it, a scotch. But the Cure song that's on there, my favorite one.
Killed it. They
So
killed
good.
it.
Favorite one, yeah.
They killed it.
And the thing is that gets me with this is it going to be fucking covers of all the stuff that was on
Oh no.
on the original sound? I would be so
hope
mad.
they
So
don't
like
put that
what
on
Kids Bop
original.
like Crow soundtrack? Where you just
Yeah. Kids Bop. Sing along.
Who the fuck's
Sing
gonna
along,
be
guys.
on this shit? I swear to God, if I see one Black Veil Brides or some other emo shit in here, I'm out. I'm done.
So I just want them to recreate the scene of what you all painted up for, crackhead, Halloweenito mañana. Like I want them to just do that again. Like that was my favorite scene. And then also like you always banging away on Darla.
Right?
And maybe
So-
give me a little fire it up.
Yeah.
Give me a little
Yeah.
fire it up.
Yeah.
Fire it up. Yeah, I'll be down with that.
So here's the icing on the cake. Look at this tattoo.
What is that one? Is that an eye?
It's an eye nipple.
oh boy.
It's an oh man.
Like, what is that? Who looked at this and said, let's make the nipple an eye?
Fantastic. You can give a titty twister and a black eye at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I call
So it's
efficiency.
an eye nipple and then the all-seeing eye in the middle of his chest.
Illuminati bullshit.
So really the face is just kind of cockeyed like this.
Yeah. And he has like this random one over here by his ab that says boy.
They might as well have gave the kitten butthole on his belly button tattoo,
yeah.
where it's a kitten and the belly button's
Oh
a
yeah,
butthole.
that'd been funny.
They should have just done
He's
that.
also got this one too that says when ? Now, and it has the grave with an X on it.
That is so Joker. Oh.
So, I mean, do you know, did they run this by James O'Barr? Did he...
They didn't run this by anybody.
Was he like, you know,
Zero people.
this is my heart and soul and my trauma expressed
This is
in
my
graphic form, and
vision.
this is now, you know, what it's been turned into, and I'm okay with this. Did they run
Right.
that by James, or
Is
this is going to
Michael Bay
re-traumatize
directing
him?
this?
Right?
Yeah.
No, if he was, you know who he'd put in it? He'd put in fucking what's her name?
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fuck.
If we're looking for, you know what? Like I said before, I tried to take a glass half full approach, but in light of new information, I'm going to revise that slightly. But what I will say is, one of the best, the OG Crow, the classic, one of the fantastic soundtracks.
Brandon Lee.
That's going on 30 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true.
Yeah, now I feel old as shit. Thank you for that. They're now releasing like a new Blu-ray, like super high def, basically going to be like the definitive like release of this, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think they've upped
best-
the toys too. I think they've
Yeah, they
re-released some toys. out there and shit,
Yes.
too.
There's been some pretty cool statues coming out, which I'm sure BuyMeToys.com
Yeah.
would love to sell us.
Shout out to Xavier. He's got some
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
So I was at Buy Me Toys and I texted him. I'm like, bro, do you have this one?
So on the bright side, like I said, this looks like it's on the verge of being a train wreck that none of us are going to be able to avoid. But it could bring new eyes of a new generation onto the original Crow, which I thought was fantastically ahead of its time as far as a comic book / graphic novel you could take seriously, and had darker, more mature themes included into it. And so for a lot of our younger listeners or people who came after that time, I strongly encourage you, take advantage of that. Watch the classic.
Yeah.
You watch this, even if it absolutely sucks for the entertainment value of it, but trust me, the reason that we're even holding out a little bit of hope that hopefully it doesn't is of how good the original and how much the original stuck with us, that it still resonates after this time, that we're like, you know what, we already know we're lining up to be kicked in the balls on this.
Right.
Who
But
doesn't
I'm
say
still
it can't
tempted to
rain
just
all
give
the
you my
time?
quarter anyways.
All the time.
Yeah, can't
Bingo.
rain all the time.
Bingo.
Everyone says that.
And so, you know, Bill Skarsgård, he's not going to try to be Brandon Lee. He's going to act the hell out of it the best he knows how, and the way he's going to do it, I'm okay with him not trying to pretend to replace the instant classic with it. So I look at it as, all right, I don't think this is going to be all that good, but Bill's going to probably act the hell out of it.
Right.
It's the same way
it's going to give us another chance to revisit the classic and view it the best way we'll probably ever get the chance to see it, unless they put the OG one out in the theaters, which I would love to see.
That would be so fun.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's the same way I approach
Let's go buy a movie theater.
Every new Leatherface. So every new Leatherface movie, I'm always like, oh God, what sort of shitstorm is this going to be? But I like half to watch it. That's my shit. Yeah. Whatever. For the good, the bad, the ugly, I will forever be linked to Leatherface, and I'm cool with that. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's just like, oh God, no.
Yeah,
I'm going to pay to see this, but I'm like, please don't be a shit show.
So here's my only thing. I'm going to leave it at this too.
This turned into a rant. This like just popped off.
This is why we have Earl here, because you said the positive shit, and I'm like,
exactly. We're gonna good cop, bad cop this.
Just like racked it through the coals.
Yeah.
Just raked it through the coals. Just said, fuck it.
And like, okay, but why is his name Eric Draven? The Crow can literally be anybody. We've seen this in the comics. We've seen this in the other movies.
You're being 100% accurate on that one.
Why did you need to name him that? Why do you need it to be Eric Draven and Shelley again? It could be someone else.
It could be absolutely anything. And there's been very good Crow comic books published on that premise where it wasn't Eric Draven in it. Yeah. That's the route they should have went. I agree with you 1,000,000% on that.
But they're cowards.
Yes.
Got to cash in on that name equity.
That's right. God damn it.
All right.
So
well, what's next on your list? Yeah.
To the next thing of news, Killer Clowns video game is going to be released June 4th, 2024. Gotta introduce that to your kids for sure.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool. You need to show them the movie.
I do. You know, every time we go to Spirit Halloween, I'm tempted to come home with one of those.
They have so much.
Dude, whoever's in charge of their licensing and getting those like animatronics out is really on fire.
They
with
ask for
those.
money with their
They do some great job. They do. They have some great animatronics
But
there.
who
Killer
would have
Clowns.
ever thought Killer Clowns became this big thing?
I know.
Like, it was so underground. Only a couple people knew about it. You'd share it around.
So obscure. Yeah, like I said, I would love my buddy DVDs. He'd be like, "Oh, what the hell is wrong with you?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, but tell me you're not gonna
You
tell
loved
me."
it though.
Yeah, you laugh when he got his block knocked off, and I know you laugh, so don't lie to me.
Right? When he got eaten by the fucking shadow puppet.
Right.
Oh, God. That was great.
Yeah, I'm only waiting for a Killer Clowns reboot to come out.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm actually a little surprised it hasn't yet.
I was just saying, not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. So then I also want to shout out 2 people that have reached out to us recently. Other podcasts. Please go give them a listen. They're awesome people. Yes. Shout out to Black Tornado Podcast.
Yes.
So they are awesome. The main co-host, or the main host, should I say, is from Indiana. Is from the Midwest near Crown Point. And his co-host is from the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That is.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you know each other?
So they do know each other. They met each other. Like when the podcast itself is actually a reboot from a 2016 one that they did back then. And so he met his friend, his co-host, through that original podcast, and like they now partnered together and they are now friends, and it's just like, it's the coolest thing.
That's cool.
Their first episode just dropped about 2 days ago.
Awesome.
And it's really neat because like the setup is they'll talk about a band first, they'll play one of their songs, and then they'll go on to the next thing, and it's so fucking good.
That's cool.
Nice.
They even shouted out Knee Deep in the Dead, which is an awesome metal band, I think out of Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Really good. I remember seeing seeing them in concert once. So it's very cool.
Sweet.
So
Nice.
love them. Thank you guys so much for reaching out to us. We hope we have
love
a
that
friendship
shit.
and a partnership, and in the future. Go check them out, and especially bands, local bands, because we know you guys listen to us.
Yes.
Go talk to them because they want to have local bands and other bands on the show. Hell, they've had people from the Philippines on the show before too.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, local metal bands, go talk to them. Go get your shit played.
Filipino metal bands, get a hold of them too.
And the other one is from the podcast Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer. They are very cool too. As a matter of fact, they're out of Florida. They said they're 2 Florida guys that do comedy and taste kind of some neat beer and talk about true crime.
There you go.
And they actually did an episode on Hobart Freeman.
Yeah.
And apparently he was part of the church, one of the guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Interesting. Florida does have an Amish community. Not saying this dude's Amish, but there's a big people from Shipshewana, like Wakarusa, that live in like the Bradenton, Sarasota area.
Huh.
Yeah.
I never knew there was
I used to live in Tampa, so yeah.
Interesting. I never knew that pipeline was there.
And apparently the people of Faith Assembly have gathered that direction too.
Yeah,
because we talked about
people
that.
there
Yeah.
sell baked goods and shit. Yeah.
All right.
And then lastly, the last thing that I have is Lesbian Bed Death, one of my favorite laugh at the band name. That's wonderful.
It's a positive laugh. I'm like laughing as if that's
so
a
good.
fantastic name. Like that's
They're from the UK, but they're fucking great. I love them so much. They released their newest album back in January, but it's called Midnight Lust. If you love horror, you love kind of metal punk, more punk, I would say, more punk goth. They're awesome. Love them so much. They're a great band. They're really sweet too. I've gotten a lot of stuff from them recently, not too long ago, from supporting their band. They're cool. I love them. I wish they could come here to the Americas. So go check them out. They're awesome.
That's why I love coming on here, Ivy. Is I hear about all these different references. I would have no way of ever coming across my wheelhouse here outside of that. So like I said, I love hearing from you guys on what you come up with, because I'm like, all right, cool. When Daddy actually gets a little bit of spare time at the end of the night, I got some stuff I can check out here.
Hell yeah.
Some homework.
Bingo. So I wish I had anything new. My big one, I was going to talk about the Crow reboot too, but so I kind of jumped in and stole Ivy's thunder on that one a bit.
No, that's fine. I'm glad you did.
So that was honestly the big one I had to talk about. Other than that, my kids are excited for the Bluey video game that came out.
Yeah, we got the Bluey video game too.
That's awesome. Name 3 things Australia's ever exported that were better. I sure can't. All right, but no. So that was all I got.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play Keepy Uppy all day.
Oh man. Oh well. If you guys don't mind, I actually have a little bit of an anecdote here regarding that. So they had this Bluey live action show that came to South Bend, and
for real?
Yeah, it's coming back. It's coming back again. But I will warn you that this is a social experiment gone awry. The show itself was great. Kids absolutely loved it. But let me tell you how they had it set up.
Oh, please.
So at the end of the event, all these kids are just completely geeked. Everybody's thrilled. Dancing spirits have never been higher. You learn about the harshness of class warfare immediately, because everybody's going to play a game of Keepy Uppy, and they have these giant bubbles. The problem was they had all the bubble machines on the lower level, and they put 4 of the Keepy Uppy giant balloons on the top level, which then promptly ended up to the bottom level. And so what you ended up with was this top level of furious, irate, screaming kids who had just had the rug pulled completely from underneath them, about ready to revolt at looking at how much fun all the kids underneath were having at the main level with their bubble machine and all the Keepy Uppy balls that inevitably made it out there. So things went from 100 to 0 in record time.
Okay, so
based on this. So the moral of the story, and I think you know where I'm going with this, take your kids to see if they will love it. Be sure you buy those tickets on the main floor. Do not buy the upper floor tickets to Bluey, or else your shit will be wrecked, and you're not it. Like I said, it was.
So where were you?
We were on the upper floor because I thought, hey, this is a wonderful view for our kids. You don't have to worry about looking over people.
Right?
You can just look through. So that was a mistake. But I would love for people to learn from my mistakes so you don't have to repeat them. So that was, it was still a good time all in all. But like I said, I wasn't prepared to teach that lesson on that evening as a result of that.
Okay.
So unless those
God.
logistics got changed, be wary, listeners, that if you're contemplating going to that show, that's going to be a trap you could walk into thinking you're doing the right thing. So that's... Yeah, there you go. There's some news you can use for...
Right? It's just like, with mosh pits. You got to make sure you're up in front.
Bingo. Sure. So in this instance, if you guys happen to go, get the main floor.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Be part of the haves, not the have-nots. You'll know the difference as soon as they walk out of that theater.
All right. On to the main part of our episode.
So we are going to be talking about, which actually came from CJ last week, if you remember. Yep. So CJ, Professor Otaku, was on last week's episode about Japanese horror and Japanese horror anime.
Yep.
Which was a good time.
It really was.
Having those guys.
It was. Very knowledgeable. So like... Me being the person who does not know dog dick about either of those topics, like just seeing that, like, I feel like I could rapid fire any fucking question to them and they'd just be like, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Both of them. Yeah, like just here is your answer presented. It's like anything you need to know about this. And that's kind of what I was like impressed with is like I really felt like we had literal encyclopedias that could vocalize anything out of it. Yeah, it just, that's what I was kind of like pretty impressed with, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. But CJ basically threw out an awesome idea for an episode, and he basically said, it would be really cool to hear an episode on non-horror horror movies.
Yes.
So he rattled off a couple.
What walks that line?
Yeah. And like, we talked about it in our kids episode about, horror movies to kind of get kids, get that taste of horror, but they're not necessarily scary.
Yeah.
But they may walk that line. But a lot of these here, I've kind of done an iceberg. Are you familiar with icebergs?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like where the top of it, where it's like, the stuff that is, it's scary. Yeah, it's got that walking the fine line of horror. And then it goes all the way down to, oh my God, this is really fucking terrifying horror movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's interesting though, because you'll always find some sort of movie that just kind of like, ooh, that's a little scary. I wasn't anticipating that in a non-horror film, you know? So let's kind of go through the list.
Sure,
I've kind of, like I said, I've kind of have it in an order, but let's kind of talk about it. I'm just going to start throwing them out. Just tell me what you guys think.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz.
Okay, so a lot of younger people I know found it creepy, and of course you have the legends and the lores around it with the
hanging,
yeah,
and the lion's suit was made out of actual lion fur.
Oh, what?
Don't know if you guys knew that.
No, that's legit. That's not another one of the urban legends.
So that is supposed to be legit. Now, granted, you can't trust the internets fully. Just a weird fact I have.
Interesting. Now I hadn't heard. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah.
Yep, it's supposed to be made out of actual lion's fur.
Like the hanging munchkin end up being a animatronic bird in the background.
Right.
It's like that's not what it looked like.
No, I was like, that was a creepy ass meme. They did a good job of that.
Right.
But I think it has that like, what are we going to? Like that build up through the entire movie. We have a destination. We're getting closer and we're getting closer.
And there's things in our way, like scary ass monkeys and a witch.
And the witch, yeah. So that definitely had some creepy elements to it.
Which I think the witch is actually kind of neat because it scared a generation of children for a long, long time. And actually the witch went on Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers to show how she puts on her outfit just to calm kids down.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, that's really neat. I like that she did that.
Apparently she was a sweet lady in real life. Like super sweet. Like they said that she was like the nicest person, and so she would always try to do her best to like dispel that she was actually a witch.
Yeah. Aw. See, I like that. I think that's cool. So the next one on my list is Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
1971. Get the Timothy Chalamet shit out of your head. We're talking about Gene Wilder, the original OG Willy Wonka.
It was made with real lion's pelts. It weighed over 100 pounds.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow. I learned something new today.
Right?
So sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm glad
Fact checking myself.
I appreciate that.
So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka?
I think it's... Is it Willy
I think
Wonka?
it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie, yeah, I think you're right.
Willy Wonka's the character.
Yeah. And and there's been Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which I think is the Tim Burton one.
Yes.
And then there's the new one where it's baby Willy Wonka.
Wonka.
Young Wonka.
Just Wonka.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, for me, the only part that some people might find scary is the boat ride.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which my husband has down to a T. He can quote that shit.
I lean more towards no on that one. I didn't really get... Yeah, fun movie. That wasn't like a hidden horror.
Hear me out.
All right, but I'm happy to be proven wrong here. Hit
Hear
me with
me
it,
out. As a parent.
Yeah.
You have won a ticket to this fantastical place. You have no idea what the fuck's in store, but some odd ass man comes out of there looking like a goddamn loony.
Yeah.
And he welcomes you all in, and he sarcastically does not give a shit about what's happening to each of these kids. Some kid almost fucking drowns. Another kid it turns into a fucking blueberry.
Yeah, blueberry. They gotta go squeeze her.
They gotta go squeeze her. What the fuck is that? If that happened to my son, what's that mean? I need to know.
She's all, I want an Oompa Loompa now, Daddy.
Yeah, and then there's that other bitch that was trying to get the goose.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you're kind of winning me over to your case here. Yeah, maybe I'm not so
That's
thrilled to win that golden ticket to bring my
scary.
kids.
I'm terrified. I don't know. I understand, like, he was trying to teach them all a lesson of not being greedy and all that shit, but okay, kids are kids. Kids can be shits.
Yeah.
You know?
You know who else taught lessons via weird, unusual ways? And that would be Jigsaw.
Right? Is that basically what Wonka is?
I'll take the candy, though.
Right? So that's what I think of, like, horror-wise, is like, well, what the fuck happened? You don't even see what happens to
like,
these
what
kids
happened to them
afterwards.
when
Are they
yeah.
dead?
I think
Yeah.
that's
they
part of
okay?
the imagination of it is you don't know like how they squeezed her.
Yeah.
Or
It's
how
left
they
up to
made
the
how they made the little boy big again.
Oh, right,
They had
yeah.
to do him the taffy pull machine. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So to me that does have the little bit of the
I can see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was, hear me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one is The Never-Ending Story. With the sky dragon, the puppy, puppy dragon.
So I will say that dude getting stuck in the mud like traumatized the
horse.
shit out of me.
Don't even.
Yeah. And one of who's Atreyu?
Atreyu's the boy, the one that like gets his horse.
Yeah.
God,
like
don't.
that like
Swamp of
scarred me.
sadness.
That's the part that still sticks with me and stuck with me. And Mommy, why won't he get the horse out?
But why is the horse so sad?
I know.
No.
Why did the horse turn to Eeyore all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Why do you have a death wish?
That's all I think of when I hear that movie. Like, I don't remember hardly any of it. I remember him flying on Old Boy because it was like, oh, he looks really cute.
Yeah.
And he's always smiling and happy and shit.
Yeah.
But everything else, the fucking horse scene, man.
Horror doesn't make me cry. That movie made me cry. So that all makes me be like, all right, dude, I don't think this fits the bill for that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think for me too is just, okay, here's the other part of the horror to A Never-Ending Story, is that there was a nothing that was lurking in the woods.
True.
And they thought it was the wolf. He was part of the nothing. But the real nothing was that your whole world is about to fucking end.
Yeah.
If this fucking child that's reading the book doesn't name the princess or the empress.
And wasn't there a big dude that ate rocks?
Yeah, the rock biter.
Yeah,
I liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the idea, and this is a theme, you'll see this in like my list. I fucking have existential fear like nobody's business.
Okay.
And it all stems from like natural disasters. So when I think about that shit, I'm like, that's terrifying. The fact that your world could be gone like this and there's nothing you can fuck that noise.
Yeah.
Right.
So that freaked me out as a kid, is just the idea of, oh, everyone's gonna be gone if this little asshole doesn't name her.
Right. Wow. I'd never thought of it that way.
Existential fear,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
All right. So the next one, kind of in the same, like I said, we're kind of going down a list of kind of dark things, especially 80s. These are mostly all from like 80s.
This is my childhood. Is all I've been talking about.
Dark Crystal.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think is? Because I'm kind of like.
So for me, it's like. When I was a kid, I was a little freaked out by the characters they're kind of like freaky. They're like uncanny valley looking.
Yeah.
Especially like the Skeksis.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, think of that South Park episode where Nanny Skeksis is one of the characters who takes care of Cartman for like a 2-second blur.
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
Why is that?
Awesome.
Like, that is freaky. And like, it's kind of the same concept, but not really, where like they got to go on this quest to retrieve the other part of the crystal. I think it's just the visuals that were scary for this one, really.
Yeah, as we know, there's different brands of horror, so maybe this one could be filed under grotesque visual style horror of just something visually unsettling about
like
what it is that you're
the
seeing.
one scene where like the elder just disintegrates.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
Or where they're taking the essence out of the Muppet creature.
Yeah.
You know?
Huh. Not bad.
As you said, Uncanny Valley-esque, where it's just that unsettling zone between fake and human that just is naturally uncomfortable.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, because look at the Gelfling. Look at how the way they look. It's just kind of, ooh, what is that? It's not monkey. It's not person. What is that? I think they're personally kind of cute, but like, it's the little like thing with teeth that gets me sometimes. That big fur ball with teeth.
Yeah. You mean me?
That was
That's funny. All right. So the next one is we're kind of going into a different realm here, but kind of actually these could almost go back to back. Return to Oz. The one
I don't think I ever watched it.
that one's freaky, dude.
Yeah. haven't seen that. Hope swears she's like, that was way darker than original Oz.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't seen that one yet, so I can't offer an opinion on it, unfortunately. All I know is that it was deemed to be a lot darker than the OG Wizard of Oz.
Really?
So basically it starts out with poor fucking Dorothy getting electrocuted because she's like...
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, you should have watched
I
it.
don't spit my beer on
She's
that
being hooked up because she's deemed crazy, so they're like doing like
Electroshock
therapy?
shock therapy on her. That's where it starts.
Wow.
That's a good start. That's a great
And
start.
then
That's
she
promising.
travels to the land of Oz and meets different characters. Not the characters that she originally had. No, it's like characters from the book. So there's like a pumpkin head dude. There's a scary fucking bed with a moose head on it. It's creepy.
Interesting.
There's these wheeler creatures that try to come after her.
Do I have to be on edibles
I think I've seen the wheel. I think I've seen the Wheeler
They're
scene
like
before.
dudes, and they got like their heads down like this, so they got the mask.
The Wheelers were looking pretty messed up. I do
they,
remember
like,
that part of it.
They like, I don't. You know how Megan runs?
Yeah.
They run like that, but with wheels on their hands.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's a witch called Mombi who collects heads, like actual heads, and she switches out heads depending on her mood. And she wants Dorothy's head.
Oh, that's interesting as fuck.
This sounds like a Guillermo del Toro, like dark fairy tale kind of vibe to it.
Exactly. And it has a very young Nancy from, what do you call it? The Craft.
Oh,
Ah.
Which one's Nancy? Is she the one that's
The psycho
that
one.
scares everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love her. Firuza Balk.
And she's in it?
Yes, that's her when she was a child. She's playing Dorothy.
Huh. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Interesting.
Bobby Boucher's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the water boy.
Yeah. You want me to kill him?
You want to kill him? Yeah. He's like, no.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there's that one. And then there's one that I'm sure nobody's really seen much of. It's from the 70s. It's called Alice. So it's an Alice in Wonderland adaptation by Svankmajer. It is nuts. It is crazy. But it's meant for kids.
Okay.
It genuinely is. It's an art piece. It has freaky looking characters. I'll pull it up for you just so you can see it. Svankmajer, for one, he's very well known for doing stop motion.
Oh yeah.
And it's very beautiful stop motion, but also freaky. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's the one where the box cover is like her like looking through like
Yes,
the eye
that's
like
the
looking
one.
through like okay.
That's the one. It's freaky, dude. Look at that.
Oh wow. All right.
It's made out of taxidermied animals and shit. It's beautiful, but it's also like, oh my god, what am I looking at?
Yeah, that would totally fit the bill.
Yeah.
Like, this is just bizarre horror to the max, and I love it. But it's not supposed to be horror. It's supposed to be artsy. Those are
you could
chickens,
call that
yes.
non-horror horror or hidden horror, however we want to.
Yeah.
Right?
That
Like, it's just visuals alone that are freaky. But by God, I'm showing this to Casper, and I'm saying this is Alice in Wonderland. You're not watching the Disney shit.
there you go.
He's gonna be educated.
Got that Harryhausen stop motion animation going.
Yeah, if you like what you're seeing, I'm sure Luke will put something up on the YouTubes. But like, check out his shit. Check out Spunkmeyer's shit. He's got some really good videos that are interesting. He's got one video that's about like
They don't make them like this no more.
Yeah.
No.
he's got one about like a body putting itself back together in this really super enclosed space.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And he's got one about like two people eating dinner or something like that across from each other and start eating the clothes off of each other. It's freaky, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've heard of edible underwear, but I don't know about edible clothes.
Right.
So yeah. All right. So for some more, I guess, common ones, we're gonna go into like comedy, but they also have horror elements to it. Ghostbusters.
True. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that one?
Well, giant monsters is always kind of that's been a horror standby since the beginning of time. So, with Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, I think you got to at least say that there's at least a little bit of it, even if it's played for comedy. Like
the guy Janusz
from the second one,
always used to creep me out. He's in the way he talks.
Oh, but I would.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He always creeped me out.
Yeah. Oh my
always.
God.
And then Sigourney Weaver gets creepy at the end.
Oh yeah.
Are you the key master?
Yeah.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
I always love that part. It just cracks me up. And the part that freaked me out as a kid watching I used to watch Ghostbusters all the time, like on fucking repeat, my sister and I. But the part where like the hands come out of the chair.
Oh yeah.
And strap her down and drag her into the closet. Fuck that. That was scary.
Yeah.
Or like the eggs jumping out of the thing and like cracking themselves open on the counter. That was freaky too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's a lot of like, just because it has ghosts in it, I guess it's horror, but it's got elements of horror that make it that hard PG for sure.
Definitely.
It earned its PG rating.
Yeah, well, back in those days, you could get away with so much more and still call it PG.
Right. Which, speaking of, let's go to Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The mama used to fucking scare me. It's wet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's water.
Yeah. She used to she used to creep me out, and she did a good job.
My mom's
did a good job.
from Brooklyn, Italian-American family. I ran into Mama Fratelli's in my day, so there's plenty of women who are like that, just hard women. So that one hits a little close to home.
Yeah, and it was always like the same thing, like, are they going to get caught? Throughout the whole movie.
That was the freaky part. And you weren't sure if, like, you knew they were going to live, but there's a small part of you that's like, I don't know. I don't know about this
one. They did a good job of making you feel the stakes were authentic because, like I said, they're liberal with having dead bodies everywhere throughout this family-friendly kids romp. They were not shy about exposing these kids to be like, hey, guess what, buddy? Dead body.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean?
The one in the freezer that falls on Chunk.
Yeah, the poor Chunk, like freezer, car trunk. Like, this kid was just dead bodies left and right for poor Chunk
Truffle
here.
Shuffle, yep.
And like I said, the one like bit of like horror on it, and of course they played it for laughs, but you're laughing at this poor kid's trauma, is the interrogation scene with the Fratelli, with Mama Fratelli's kids, and they're basically threatening to puree this poor kid's hand up for not giving information. God. It's just like, they played that so straight and like legit. I was just like, dude, again, Goonies, great movie.
Yeah.
Our kids have seen it. I love it. One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
One. But I was just like, there's totally some horror straight up staring you in the face there, especially because it's like these people have made it clear they will blend this kid's hand up into tomato puree.
And they have no problem killing somebody.
The opera singing while he's doing these things. It's just so that was my shout out was Goonie was totally one that family friendly, we all entertain and love, but man, there's some dark stuff, there's some dark implications and dark stuff there,
right?
And like I said, the interrogation scene, it's like you laugh and then you're like, holy crap, I'm laughing at a kid who's like freaking out because his hand might get blended off,
especially when like he has no idea what the fuck he's being interrogated for, and he just talks about all the sins he's committed.
He starts saying everything,
the fake vomit, and then everybody starts vomiting everywhere, and it's just like
which was literally like a scene from Stand By Me that just referenced.
It's like you put yourself in the shoes of this 10-year-old kid, and it's like, what the hell else are you gonna do with these grown-ass
what am I gonna
people?
say?
Right.
I stole candy. I'm so sorry.
To me, Goonies is like a top 10 ever movie created, in my opinion. And the main reason is, tell me another movie that has better characters and so many of them. Like just the character themselves, like how much of a character they are, like Sloth, like Chunk, like Mama Fratelli, like just the characters that each person plays.
To knock out an ensemble cast like that was just
like, I can't ever remember. Like usually a movie will have like one or two good characters. This movie had a bunch, and even the older brother.
Oh yeah,
I forget.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Was it Josh Brolin?
Yes, that's him.
I thought. Okay, yeah. The older brother, like him with like the workout gear and everything, and like
the stretch and shit.
Exactly. Like just the characters in that movie.
Even the rich kid dicks, like the preppy rich kids, played their parts to a freaking team. You're like, I hate these motherfuckers. But that's exactly what they wanted you to like. Everybody did what they were supposed to do in that movie and did it beautifully. And I think you nailed it. It was just wonderful ensemble casting, character development, and world building,
and how well they were written, and how distinct they were. Each person was very distinct from the others, so it really gave you this band of misfits, like banding together. None of them are alike or similar. They're all very different, but they are like a family. They're like a brotherhood. And to me, that's why it's a top 10 movie ever created in the entire history of cinema, in my opinion. Goonies is in the top 10.
You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep. I'll second that motion.
Yep.
So,
also, fun fact before we move on from Goonies, the actor who played Sloth was actually a #1 overall NFL draft pick.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, fun fact.
Crazy.
I'm going to butcher this poor man's name here, God rest his soul. It was like John Matsushizak or something was his name. But yeah, #1 pick of the Raiders in the 1970s before he played Sloth.
That's so cool.
Okay.
And had all that makeup on his face.
Yeah.
So the next movie I have is Jumanji.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, it had some creepy-ish elements because you didn't know what was going to come out.
Yeah.
And if they would be able to, like, subdue it.
I think what really freaked me out as a kid was the first time where Alan gets sucked into the board.
Yeah.
Fuck that noise.
And it's
I was so scared.
It's that fear of the unknown. And it's just like, you know that you've got to play this game, but anything that's going to come out could kill you.
Yeah.
And it's, again, in my opinion, a good example of stakes building and saying, all right, we've got to get the hell out of this and figure this out. And as a kid, to put yourself in those shoes, I would be freaking my shit out.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably die within the next couple of minutes. Like, the spiders would have gotten me. The snakes would have gotten me. That's it. Sorry. I needed Robin Williams there. Jungle Man to save me, man. So yeah, that one always freaked me out too, because like, okay, my mom at one point though, she was like in her uber religious state. She she goes, "You are not allowed to watch that movie ever again. It's basically like a Ouija board."
Too much like a Ouija board.
I'm like, well, okay, so I guess I can't watch Zathura now.
Thanks, Parker Brothers. You wrecked it for me.
All right. Okay, next one is E.T.
E.T., huh?
So a lot of people don't think of this one as a horror movie.
I never found this scary at all.
All right, again, hear me out.
Win me over here, because right now I'm kind of the same way. I was just like, that's actually a pretty
sweet
good
movie.
reach, and that I would have never thought to expect to look at it from a horror angle.
Right.
So hit me with the lens, Ivy.
Hear me out. Okay, yes, it's got freaky elements to it, especially that cornfield scene freaked me out for weeks. When they're looking through the cornfield and there he is. Fuck that noise. And especially with those creepy little fingers going up the fucking staircase. That was freaky. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, okay, we all got kids. What if our kid went out there, found a fucking, I don't know.
An alien?
A thing. A thing out there that I have no idea what the fuck that is. They're hiding it in my fucking house. Somewhere. I'm by myself. I have no idea this fucker's in here. And what that fucker is also is warping my child's mind. They have a bond. They're communicating.
They're linked, because when he starts to die, the other gets sick. The boy gets sick.
That is scary to me. I'm just and my
kid's
son
riding a damn bike in front of the moon.
My son runs off and I can't find him, and all of a sudden he comes back sick as shit. And then I see the dead thing on the ground. I'm getting the fuck out of my house. And then I turn around, and then all of a sudden there's these fucking strangers trying to come into my house because they're trying to get that thing out.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. I would be so done. That's why I consider this a horror movie.
Okay.
All right. You know what? That's a lens I can get on board with. If you're going to look at E.T. as a horror film, I could see that because, I just had a stressful last day at work, and this is what I'm going to come home to.
Yep.
Is Billy, what the fuck are you bonding with right now, and what are you?
What the fuck is that? First thing that's going to come to my mind is not alien. It's going to be, that's a fucking demon. That's what that is. And
holy shit, mom was right. But the Ouija board wasn't for Jumanji, it was for E.T.
And I'm just going to be my Catholic ass is going to go over there and be dousing it with holy water.
A super soaker full of holy water. Just.
And I'm no! Burn it with fire!
You better hope it ain't a Gremlins crossover and it reproduces.
Dude, I'd be terrified. So that movie would have gone completely different if it were me. That's why it's a horror film, man. All right, now we're going to the mid iceberg layer of just kind of they're not for kids, but it's animation.
Okay.
So here we go. For animation, the first one I'm gonna throw out there is The Secret of NIMH.
Oh, why do I
the one with the
remember
rats?
That? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Holy shit.
Also, not PG, but definitely G. Probably should have been PG with shit that had to. There was stakes in that one too, really high stakes because literally, and this is coming from an animal's perspective. She's literally is almost trying to be attacked by every little thing out there. She tries to get eaten by the fucking dragon that looks more like a fucking dog than it does a cat. Because Don Bluth hates cats, apparently.
Animators hate cats. Always.
Don Bluth specifically.
Yeah, he
makes them monsters in all of his films. He's on the mice's side.
Yeah, he's not a cat man.
And a owl almost tries eating her, but she's going to him for help. A rat just about fucking tries to kill her. A very sexy looking rat, let me add. The villain was kind of hot.
Hey, credit where it's due.
And then her kids almost fucking drown with the cinder block that they're living in falls into the mud. And the whole reason she's on this quest is her son is fucking bedridden and dying. And she's trying to get medicine for him that she can only get from these really advanced rats. And she's got to bring back to him to save him. Yeah. And she almost loses all of her kids in one fell swoop because they almost drowned from the cinder block falling in the mud. That is horror to its peak, man. Anything to do with kids.
Yeah.
that freaks me out. And I swear, like, being a mother has now become a curse too.
Yeah, you know,
because I'm like,
You look at things different.
I always had
do.
empathy, but I didn't know fear until I became a dad.
yep.
Now I'm a fucking coward when it comes to so many different things.
Yep.
Before I was like, whatever happens to me, whatever.
It's
I've had a good
whatever.
run. But now, heaaven forbid something happens to one of those, it's a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
I didn't know fear until I became a parent. Now I know it all too well. I hate it.
Right. So then kind of going down the list too, we have Watership Down. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with this
I have
one?
no idea what the hell that is.
So,
You go ahead and explain it.
All right,
I know
so-
you just watched it
yeah,
recently.
so late 70s, this Watership Down, and we'll get into Play Dogs as well,
Yes.
was a couple of British animation films that were based off novels by a gentleman named Richard Adams. And so these were hand-drawn. The animation actually, surprisingly, was better than what I expected to be when you told me it was drawn by 70s British animators. And I apologize to any Brits out there. I don't mean that in a slanderous way. But, you know, you go through, and these were animated movies. And at this point in time, Disney was kind of in a lull before they hit their renaissance and came back. And so animation itself in the West wasn't at a particularly super high level at this place.
Gotcha.
But they stepped in, and both of them were based off of successful books at the time. And Watership Down is like one part Lord of the Rings, one part like Game of Thrones in a sense. It's I don't know, maybe that's not even the best way to put it, but it's an adventure kind of movie, but it has, in my opinion, survival horror elements to it, and it's based on rabbits who need to find a new warren to go through and live in, because one of them has a premonition that the other one is doomed due to, you find it later, man-made development. But and so it's him trying to convince the rest of the Warren rabbits to move, and the horrors they encounter along the way. And it's not shy about having some of these things picked off. And so it actually has its own mythology and lore built into the movie as well. And, you know, basically the rabbit god has said, you guys are overpopulating and having too good a time here, so I'm going to give these other animals the ability to kill you. But if you still follow me, you will never go extinct. But these things can kill you. I'll give you gifts to evade them, but some of you are going to die along the way. So that's spelled out for you in the very beginning. And, you know, it's probably good for the kids that that's there, because some of them do die along the way.
Oh, yes, they do, in
As they go through that.
horrific ways.
And yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who wants to go out there, but there's going to be a couple oh shit moments where you're just like, that rabbit was there and now it's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it does a very good job of balancing the line between anthropomorphizing the rabbits, I'm sure I butchered that one, and giving them some human qualities, but but at the same time keeping their core beings as rabbits. And so the stakes are real, very real from a rabbit's perspective.
Yeah.
And so their priorities are just exactly as you would presume a rabbit to be. It's finding a safe shelter, food, and fucking.
Yep.
And so, a big chunk of the movie is them saying, okay, in not so many words, dude, we need some females here because our
population's dying out. We're all dudes.
So yeah, the math isn't
Sausage fest.
the math isn't going to math on this one. So
Yep.
we've got to find some chicks, and so that's essentially where it goes through, and what one of their missions is as they're trying to find their ultimate safe haven to get through. And so it actually was pretty well executed, I thought. I mean, there's been some claims about sexism and lack of development of the female characters, and it is existing beyond just being props and breeding stock. I could see where that's coming from in a sense, because there's not a lot of female rabbit development, but also from the rabbit's perspective in this case, that's kind of just how they're viewed.
Okay.
He came out with a sequel to this 25 some odd years later, where the short stories are more female centered and more balanced in it. But you'll notice that you'll be like, dude, there's like no female rabbits anywhere in here. And that comes into play later on when that actually is a plot point that's in it. But yeah, to me, there's definite survival horror elements into this as they're going through, and that sense of unease that at any point in time you can get just picked off. Like that overwhelming dread, almost Walking Dead in a sense, to where you're here and now you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
To borrow one of your references from earlier.
Yeah.
Where, and so there's this you're walking this line of PTSD. You have a bird that probably suffered some brain damage along the way that's contracted to help him. They help out and he helps them out. But this thing, I'm not going to spoil any more than that, but it does a pretty good job of keeping you guessing on how it's going to play out.
Yeah. So and the biggest part of it is it's notorious for like the 80s. We were talking about the video store. Oh, okay. Somebody saw a rabbit on the cover and was like, "Oh, that's for my kids. Rabbits are fine." And then, oh God, oh no, they're tearing each other apart. There's blood everywhere.
For my Pokemon fans out there, like the bad guy in this is just a demented-looking Diggersby motherfucker.
That's a good.
It's a
good comparison.
So, like I said, you just look at this you're just looking at me. You're like, oh, that's our bad guy out of it. This old fat ass crotchety rabbit that you just. Yeah, there is a lot of parents who I'm positive in this country got duped by saying, "Oh, these are some cute animated rabbits. Let's just sign on for this."
And that's where I think they also went wrong with Plague Dogs.
Oh.
Don't know that one either.
That's okay. You might not want to see it because literally the opening of it is a dog almost fucking drowning.
It's a rip-roaring adventure.
Yeah.
Is it realistic looking like the cat in Gummo? I don't know if you ever seen Gummo.
No, it's not.
Yeah, one of the opening scenes of Gummo is the little boy drowning a cat in a barrel.
It's kind of, so they're realistic looking drawn dogs.
Oh, again, picture 19.
Oh, so is this drawings?
Yeah, they're drawings.
I'm talking about real.
Yeah, no,
picture, 1980s.
I know what you're talking about.
1980s hand-drawn animation, that style era, and so it's realistically drawn for that style of animation. Would be the best way I could put it. They don't shy away from it.
Yeah, and it's basically these animals, a whole bunch of different animals, not just dogs. There's monkeys and other different rabbits, I think, that are in a cage being locked up and they're being tested for different things. Like it's bad. Whatever they're being tested for. There's 2 dogs that are friends. And literally the opening scene of Zed is one of them almost, or both of them almost fucking drowning. And it is terrifying. Like they linger on that shit for a while.
And the first 5 minutes of that film, we've got the near drowning. You have another dog just flat out dead from the horrors that were inflicted on it. And you have them taking their safe space in an incinerator. In an animal lab testing facility.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's, definite horror element to this, and one of the sadder movies I've ever seen.
So fucking sad. Wasn't it the whole thing is like they were carrying a plague or something like that, something that could make other people sick, and that's why they were being tested on or something like that. It's been a while since I've seen it.
I I've got 20 minutes left in it. I've had to take a break on it because it was getting some dark places. Yeah. But it's, like I said, my plan is to finish it, and so I don't know exactly how the ending goes of it right now. But from what I've seen so far, I have no faith it's going to deliver a 180 and turn to be a happy ending off of all evidence that I've seen thus far into that film.
Did you see the hunter part where they tried to get... So there's a scene that lives in my brain rent-free and is part of the reason I'm terrified of guns.
Okay.
So the dogs finally get free of the facility and they find this hunter. He's real sweet and he's playing with them and all that. He's just gone hunting. He's got his gun. The dog doesn't watch where his foot's going. Blows his face off.
Wow.
This dog already had PTSD because he felt responsible for killing his other master, who was a pretty good guy and actually took good care of him. So now this poor dog, is just super traumatized that maybe he's the one that's cursed and causing all these terrible things to happen on it. Yeah, I did not see that hunter scene coming from a mile.
God, that scene lives rent free in my brain. I can't get it out of my head sometimes. I'm just like,
so Plague Dog's definite dark movie. I give it 2 check marks for the horror element of it because there's a lot of ways you can look at it and derive horror from it, not just from the environment that the dogs live in, but there's a lot of allegories that could be made about the horror of feeling like you yourself are cursed and the reason that all these terrible things are happening to you and maybe you deserve this and you're the one bringing that down.
Right.
To me, that's terrifying. The fact that maybe you were just born cursed, or even if you weren't, that you just honestly believe that.
Right.
And think that you're just bringing doom to anything that you come across. That's
so sad.
That's crazy.
All right. So Let's kind of lighten things up a little bit, and let's go with Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
I like the 180. I don't think you can get much darker than Plague Dogs if you try, but I definitely appreciate the pivot here.
So I love to me the brutality of killing the creatures.
Yeah.
And I definitely see parallels in Helldivers and Helldivers 2 because you actually shoot creatures that look exactly like the ones, exactly like the ones in the movie. But yeah, that was what I loved for it, and like how the characters, some of them died and stuff, was really brutal.
Yeah, like that was the whole thing about like Starship Troopers. Want to go to war?
Yeah.
War is terrifying, but even more so with these things that can like attach to you and pull you apart. And goddamn,
that Starship Troopers is one of the perfect like Friday night popcorn. Just buckle in and just have a fun fucking time watching this movie with it. So I can definitely get the horror elements of it, even though it didn't feel like a horror movie of it. But like I said, the first time when I watched it, and I'm sure I was way too young than I should have been.
Right?
It's just like the ultra violence totally threw you for a loop because I wasn't. Usually when I would see movie deaths at that point in time, it wasn't just played up the way that Starship Troopers would do it.
And the way it's filmed, it looks like either like Mars Attacks or like what's the other movie that I'm thinking of? It's got that film early 90s 2000s.
It has that vibe to it,
you know, where it's more fun, and you even want to learn more, you know, like the little ads that come on at and it's funny. It's
like it shouldn't be as upbeat or as light for what it is with the material that it's delivering to you. But there is an era that delivered things like that, where it was like serious repercussions, but in a cool, awesome, extreme package that don't you want to sign up for.
Exactly. And like I remember the first time I ever saw that movie was not as a kid. I actually saw it as an adult. I saw it with Riff Tracks.
Oh, nice.
Like Riff Tracks Live. They had a whole Starship Trooper event, and I'm just like, I'm not even paying attention to whatever they're saying. I'm just invested in this movie now. What the fuck? I wasn't anticipating this.
Can we steal that principle and just do a riff tracks with the three of us?
We could do that.
All right,
that'd be fun. We should do it on a live stream if we can get it up again.
Hope would be super thrilled with that one because then she went to around me fucking up her movie experiences quite so much. She warns me ahead of time. I'm like, if there's one you actually want me to shut up, I will not be offended, but please tell me first before I wreck it for you.
We should do that on a live stream.
We can do that.
That'd be fun. But yeah, Starship Troopers, that's a good one. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one would be Terminator. Any Terminator. I think they're all kind of horror-ish.
They're they're definitely scary, not sluts. There's definitely that same element of like someone or something's coming for you, you know, for John Connor or whichever one you're watching.
Sarah Connor.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I think there's that element to it is what kind of makes it scary. But then also, like, can the scary guy and girl and some of them be stopped?
Yeah, right.
You know,
because they each come back with like a new upgrade and shit. And it's like
with the rise of AI and machine learning, does Terminator seem any scarier to you than
Skynet
it might have
just around the corner?
Right. Does it seem like a little scarier now that you see the advances that are made in that?
A little bit.
Than it would have.
Saying some fucked up shit.
And when you say things like self-learning AI and self-teaching AI,
fuck that noise.
That's the thing, but that noise is there. And so I was just like, so does that make Terminator a scarier watch now, realizing that some of these crazy bastards are actively pursuing funding and researching this?
There's so much out there that just absolutely terrifies me when you think
Wasn't
about
it 2023? Wasn't that when Terminator was supposed to be? Luke, you put it up on the screen. I can't remember when they said that was supposed to be with all the Terminators walking around, crushing skulls and shit.
The scary thing for me wasn't the post-apocalyptic machine dominance saying yes, but I think the thing that scared me about the Terminator concept is it's another instance of your own existence being outside of your own control. And you being at the mercy of things that you have absolutely zero influence over. That something can just alter a timeline and you wouldn't even be born. Yeah. That, like I said, and it left me with a newfound appreciation of the frailty and the gossamer chainness of our lives and how narrow it is and how fortunate and lucky we are to be here, because
kind of like the butterfly effect.
Essentially, because one thing twists the wrong way, and not only are you dead, your loved ones, your family, your friends never existed in the first place.
You're blank.
That's
nothingness.
It's worse.
Nothingness.
It's worse than extinction, because at least extinction existed once. This is a state of non-existence.
Like, you never happened. Your life is, gone.
Never
That's it.
even existed.
I hate that.
So, like I said, the premise of it and like the world potential of Terminator is the terrifying part to me. Like, if I'm like, oh shit, if that's the way that it is, man, I'm just going to try to pretend that I didn't know this and just get back to eating my toaster strudel.
Yeah, right. No kidding. God, I hate that. I hate existential shit, man.
I'm sorry, I totally knew that.
It's okay. No, this is what this is about. We're about challenging our fears, man.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, last one. We might need to make this into a two-parter, especially if we're going to dive deeper to what's below the surface on our iceberg.
Absolutely, because we've got more.
We got some messed up shit coming up. Yeah. So let's talk about
Terminator. Let's
RoboCop.
Okay.
So
I mean, for me, the scary part was like, how do I put it? Just the fact that he's human but not, and like, what feelings does he have, and like, is he mad that he got no choice but to be put into this robot body and he can't see his family like he once saw them? For me, that was kind of the scary part, because it's almost like as if like you were to be a vegetable, or if you were to be in a coma, or you were to be paralyzed in a sense. Your life would be forever changed and you'd be there to an extent, but you're not fully there.
RoboCop is just basically Go catch Inspector Gadget.
It really is.
It's
Gadget arm.
Yeah, it's just a rated R version of Inspector Gadget.
I do think it's one of the best black comedies of all time, though. Like, I love RoboCop, and I thought it was ahead of its time in numerous regards, like the invention of the CD, which totally is like a concept that they had in it.
Yeah.
But, one of my all-time favorite scenes is when, that thing blasts the board executive for a minute and a half, and the first response is somebody call a medic. This man is human Swiss cheese at this point in time. I don't think a medic's going to get the job done, but the black comedy aspects of it and that they pull across on it, it always resonated with me more than the horror elements to it. But I totally see where the loss and balancing of your humanity is totally a scary fucking thing. If you're trying to deal with trying to hold on to what humanity you've got left, and how is that possible when 95% of your body is now a machine?
Yeah, and it's like, what can you be of what you were? Like, what have you now become that you can never go back to? And that, to me, that element is always kind of creepy, because he's not in nothingness, but he's in an existence that's completely void of like 95% of the things that he was,
Yeah. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
One of the other scary things about this is one of the elements of RoboCop is basically wildly capitalist economics and being driven by the stock market, where that ultimately leads us. And of course, they joke it's about, the 5,000 pound car that gets 8 miles to the gallon and, everything else like that. And but when you look at the influence of big business and RoboCop, remind yourself that this movie came out in the 1980s. Tell me how much of that hasn't come to fruition in many areas as far as how corporations have taken over and the influence that they have. The scary thing for me about RoboCop is that they successfully predicted a lot of end outcomes of where letting the stock market tail drag the dog would take you. And so to me, that's one of the scarier parts about it, was how accurate it was as far as building up this world that eventually
it's just gone to shit.
It profits over people. But all that being said, super effective. But let me tell you, I'll still take every opportunity I can to say I'll buy that for $1.
Let's do our very, very last one.
Right.
We're going to be talking about The Burbs.
The Burbs, one of my favorites. Has Tom Hanks in it.
I love Tom Hanks. when he was
And
young.
for those of you who haven't seen it, there's a creepy family that lives in their neighborhood.
Yes.
And like the suburbs, they're real nosy and they try to be friendly, but this family like wants none of it. And they've got loud noises that come from the basement and smoke coming out of there. And so they try to get in and figure out like what's going on. So it's very much a comedy, but creepy.
Yeah.
It has
And
Corey Feldman in it, doesn't it?
it does have Corey Feldman in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he like watches from afar and like instigates and shit and eggs them on and stuff. It's great. But the creepy dude, the redheaded guy with the real patchy beard, he's creepy as fuck. That guy, we'll have to find out that actor.
Yeah.
He is creepy as shit. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like the younger, like teenage guy, maybe early 20s. I don't know. I can't tell, but he's got red hair and his patchy little beard. He is creepy as shit. He plays that part so fucking well.
And it's so fun. It's definitely a dark comedy.
It is. It is definitely
silly.
a dark comedy.
I'll have to check that out.
Oh, it's so
Love it.
great. So great. You will love it.
It also has Dick Miller in it as well, which comes up in every horror movie ever. He's like in anything that Joe Dante's ever done.
Yep.
I love that man.
Yep.
But let me see if I can find a picture.
Something about that era, man. Little Monsters is another one. I know it's not on the list, but it's
Yeah.
Oh, Little Monsters is so good. I love that one. Yeah, I'm not finding a picture of the creepy dude. I'm surprised. But yeah, I remember actually seeing this on TV. Like it came on TV once, and I will never forget this part where they find the femur.
Yep.
And like it does that funny camera. It's very funny. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. But yeah, the family's like just freaky.
Just freaky.
Oh,
yeah.
there he is. That guy.
Yes.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just creepy as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and he let's see here. Is that
boy, it looks like he'd have a banjo in his hands at that full
right?
crap down more.
Yeah.
It's Courtney Gaines is the
Courtney
gentleman
Gaines
that plays him. I don't know what all he's been. He's been
he's been in a bunch of shit.
He's been in a lot of shit. Nothing really I recognize. Candy corn. I don't know. We're just looking at his IMDb page, and it's like it's a lot of horror movies. But Hell's Kitty, God.
Looks like the kind of movies we should have been somewhat familiar with.
Right? He's been in Criminal Minds before. That makes sense.
Wild Cards.
Always Sunny.
It's got to be cool. It has a Z in it.
Hell's Kitty, another one.
Was Hell's Kitty just a horror franchise we
didn't know about?
That
Should we be
somehow
checking
wasn't a
this
Ray-Ban
out?
should be.
Yeah, it looks like his earliest shit was like Lust in the Dust. What?
Lust in the
School break special.
His name's-
After school specials. Love those.
Look at he's Malachi from Children of the Corn.
That's where okay, that makes sense.
Wow.
That's why he's freaky.
How did
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Way to go, Malachi. I didn't realize he had such a thriving career off this.
He's also in Hard
known
Bodies. Well, that's cool.
Yes, he totally is.
Back to the
totally
Future too. Damn. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that about him. Yep, that's him.
That is,
my God.
yeah, you
All
can
right.
totally tell.
Huh.
Holy shit, I didn't
Malachi.
realize.
That's awesome.
That's fucking cool. Hey, aren't you going to be seeing him at Days of the Dead soon?
Yes, in Indianapolis, I think.
I think you said, yeah.
Gonna be there.
That's cool.
I forget, yeah, because I'm going to Chicago and Indy. I'm stoked because non-horror related, but all the Revenge of the Nerds cast is gonna be there.
Oh, that's awesome.
cool.
All of them. So
I love that.
Oh yeah, so I'm fucking excited.
Say hello to Booger for me. He was my favorite.
Dude, I wanted to get a Who Farted shirt forever. Like, oh yeah, Booger's fucking great.
Well, with that being said,
Yep.
that's the end of our
That is-
episode. But
yes,
we will have a part 2.
We will turn it into a 2-parter. Absolutely. Definitely.
We'll get
gonna
into
do
the
that.
heavier shit later.
Yes.
I'd buy that for $1.
Sweet.
So thank you all. Thank you,
Yes.
Big Earl, for being
Yes,
on here
thank
with
you.
us.
Always
again,
a pleasure.
man. Hey,
Always
I'm
a
glad you
pleasure.
could be on.
Absolutely.
I need to Arabian Nights this shit, so however many parts I can stretch this into to keep coming back, I'm just going to keep doing that. So
All right. That's fair enough.
Well, look after each other and good night, cellar dwellers. Bye-bye.
goodbye.